Hello everyone! Illusionists are like wizards in a world where magic doesn't exist. We fall in love with magic as children when we first visit a circus or an amusement park, and then we continue to enjoy magic tricks throughout our lives. What other profession in the world can make adults and even the most serious people feel like innocent children who believe in miracles? None! And although there are many illusionists in the world, it's not a simple job, but some artists manage to bring their illusions to a whole new level.
Oh yeah.
Yo.
To his face.
Their tricks are so intricate that you cannot believe what you're seeing. Their imagination and fantasy have no limits, and their skills are unparalleled. But in the end, these masters of magic are only human. And even their most amazing tricks have a rational explanation. And that's what we're gonna show you today. Make yourself comfortable, because we're going to reveal the truth behind the most famous illusions in history. Attention to the screen. Lipstick in palm. Very often, illusionists use sophisticated equipment and dangerous devices for their performances, so it's impossible for people to repeat those tricks at home.
1, 2,
3.
But today's first trick is an exception. It's very simple and requires nothing more than skill. This means that anyone could try to do it. You just have to watch the video very carefully. It features famous American illusionist Criss Angel. First, you're going to need a victim. That is, a person you're going to surprise with this trick. The important thing is that they have a lipstick. Criss, in this case, chose his makeup and hairstylist. The first thing he does is ask her to take the lipstick out of her purse. The illusionist looks at it, makes some comment, and then gives it to another girl. Then he returns to the stylist. Her name is Tony Lee, by the way. The illusionist asks the girl to put her hands in front of her and then asks her if she's a lefty or righty. She says she's left-handed. Then Criss asks her to remove her right hand and make a fist with her left hand. The illusionist takes the lipstick and draws a small dot on the back of her hand. Criss warns Tony she's gonna feel a warm or tingling sensation. He then begins to rub the stain, closing his eyes as if using some mind tricks. His plan is to move the stain into his palm, but something goes wrong because there's nothing in his palm. Criss is surprised and claims he probably rubbed too hard. So he asks Tony to open her palm, and there it is, the runaway lipstick stain. Magic? Not at all. Actually, it's very simple. At first, when the magician takes the lipstick in his hands, he secretly stains one of his fingers. Now watch what he does next. It may seem that he's moving Tony's hands to make them more visible to the camera, but that's not entirely true. The illusionist gently touches the girl's palm with his finger, leaving a lipstick mark. After that comes the easy part. Don't let people around see your finger, and distract them by talking all the time so that no one sees the secret mark in the palm before time. Part of the trick is to warn the person that they will feel something. Our consciousness works in an amazing way. We begin to feel a warm and tingling sensation, although in reality, it's only our imagination. However, it is more than enough to make the trick amazing. You have to admit that it feels like magic. Anti-gravity lean. Michael Jackson is undoubtedly one of the most influential musicians in history, and we could talk about his achievements for a long time. However, few knew that he was not only a dancer, choreographer, actor, screenwriter, and producer, but also an illusionist. Just a little, but enough to impress everyone. Remember the music video for the song Smooth Criminal? Around the 7th minute, the musician, along with the dancers, leans his body, forming a 45-degree angle. That sounds impressive, but wait till you hear all the details of this trick. Maybe Michael Jackson was a superhero? We don't know, but the secret to this trick is in the artist's shoes. The singer patented his design in 1993. Look at the heel from below and you'll see a hole inside. At the time of the trick, the assistants would pull out a special peg on the stage. The heel connected to the peg very lightly, so tight that it could support the weight of the musician's body. That's how Michael Jackson performed the trick over and over again. Would you be able to repeat it? Probably not, because even if you use these special heels, you need to have an incredible physical strength. According to the doctors, during this trick, especially going back to the vertical position, you have to use muscles that aren't actually used. An untrained person, even with the right shoes, will at best fall, and at worst, injure their ligaments. Chances are Michael Jackson may have had to train for months before he could perform the trick safely. Bullet catch. it's time to talk about one of the most dangerous and impressive tricks in the world. It was first shown in the 17th century, but it continues to surprise audiences around the world because it shows us that illusionists play with death. Only the bravest artists dare to perform it, in many cases without success. But let's start from the beginning. So what's the trick? It can be done by 1 or 2 people at a time. In this case, it's 2 people. More exactly, the famous American illusionists Penn and Teller. It's very simple. The men point guns with laser sights at each other and shoot, but don't worry, you won't see any injuries. Instead, Penn and Teller smile, showing everyone a bullet between their teeth. Remember, the bullet comes out of the gun at a speed of 450 meters per second. No living creature on the planet has the speed to react and catch the bullet in time. Not to mention that no tooth can withstand the impact of a bullet. So what's the secret? We're gonna reveal it to you. In fact, there are several ways to perform the trick. Some illusionists, the most daring ones, are not afraid to use real guns and ammunition. They instruct their assistant to miss the shot on purpose, but the trick is still very dangerous. Sometimes the assistants make mistakes. This kind of accident has cost the lives of 11 illusionists. One option is to use a fake gun with a special mechanism that creates a shooting effect. The other is to replace the real bullets with wax bullets. As in this case, the artist paints them so that it's impossible to distinguish them from real ammo. However, these bullets simply disintegrate in the air once fired. At the beginning of the trick, 2 volunteers from the audience go on stage. They draw their initials on the bullet and any drawings they can think of on the casing. This is necessary to show the audience that the projectiles used are real, but no one knows that the assistants are copying the drawings on the bullets that are going to be used for the trick. Notice how close the armored tables are to the backstage? The assistant's task is to discreetly put the bullets there so that the illusionists can then put them in their mouths. The holes in the glass are real, by the way. They were made by the wax bullets just before they disintegrated. Levitation. People have wanted to fly since time immemorial, when the first civilizations were just emerging. It has been approximately 40,000 years since the appearance of Homo sapiens, but we've not made any progress. We can fly, but we have to use planes, helicopters, or jetpacks, except for magicians, of course. Watch this trick performed by Criss Angel, although we must clarify that he's not the first or the last to do it. So, has the illusionist skill reached the point where they have conquered the air element? Of course not. It's not by chance that this trick is not performed live. We always see it on recordings. The reason is it would be very difficult not to see the huge crane used to lift the magician, because there is no such thing as magic. Everything is possible thanks to the super thin wires hidden under the illusionist's clothes. They're pulled by the crane operator, the real person responsible for the trick. The other secret is to record the magician in such a way that the crane does not appear on the screen. And besides, this trick is usually performed on sunny days. The sun doesn't allow the wires to appear on the screen, and frankly speaking, even if you're nearby, you'll have trouble seeing them. And yet the audience is delighted, but they're simply actors who are hired to sit and applaud. Self-tying shoelaces. Have you ever dreamed of owning a pair of self-tying shoelaces? Probably. So it's time to envy the illusionist David Blaine, who managed to tie his shoes with the help of magic. Watch closely. The magician doesn't bend over. He doesn't do anything. He just moves his leg in a dance-like manner. And yet, in a few seconds, the shoelace is tied up. What's the secret? The fact is that the shoelace wasn't untied in the first place. Look carefully. At first, the magician arranges his pants so that we do not see the knot. Only the hanging ends, which are actually another shoelace. They are tied to a device hidden under the clothes and stretched along the leg. The illusionist pulls an elastic band at the waist, so the extra lace is lifted up and hidden as if it never existed. Then the magician pulls up his pants and surprises the audience with a perfectly tied shoe. Secret cards.
Yeah, keep your hand there. Oh, God.
The last trick we're going to show today was performed a few years ago by David Blaine on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon. So what's the trick? First, the illusionist deals down 10 cards and asks the others
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
to count them out loud to convince the audience everything is fair, no cheating. Then he asks the show's guest, a member of the group The Roots, to put the cards under his jacket, against his heart. Then David asks Jimmy to choose a card at random. It turns out to be a 3 and…
3. It's a 3? 3.
What happens next is pure magic. The illusionist adds 3 more cards to the 10 that the other guest had next to his heart. When he pulls out the pile of cards, instead of 10 cards, there are 13.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So number, how many there? 11, 12, 13.
did this happen? Actually, David only created the illusion that Jimmy had chosen the card by accident. It was all prepared in advance. The magician held the 3 on top of the deck and then discreetly planted it for Jimmy to take. So all he had to do was add 3 extra cards to the initial pile. He did this just before he let the guest count the 10 cards. David put the extra cards under the cards, but facing down. Then he asked the guest to count the cards by flipping them over so the trick wouldn't be discovered.